And so first up, we have Briana Greer. She is the president at Solid Solution Geosciences, and she'll be speaking to the implementation and early performance of the revenue passive treatment with groundwater infiltration.
Thank you, Elizabeth. All right, so y'all can hear me okay? I'm not used to hearing how it goes. I'm here today to talk about a project that I mentioned at last year's conference. And so those of you that had the pleasure of attending that conference heard about our plan to, at Ouray Silver Mines, to build a passive treatment system and no longer have an outfall directly into Snuggles Creek. So that system was built last fall, and right now is underneath a lot of snow. So I'm here to report on the implementation of that, and then a little bit of the early results. So we do have a couple quarters of groundwater monitoring since it was built. I want to start off by thanking Ouray Silver Mines for allowing me to work with them on this. I feel privileged to have done so, and we'll just get going here. So you've heard a lot about Ouray Silver Mines. You probably know by now exactly where it is, but this is the obligatory introductory slide. Ouray is in red up here, Telluride, St. Sophia's Ridge is here, Yankee Boy Basin, and there's the Revenue Virginia's portal, just up the road from Hanford. It is a historic mine. Nope. So one of the really unique things about this site is that it's not a new mine. It's a very old mine. It has a 128-year history to it. And so as operators on this site, I think Ouray Silver Mines is taking very seriously the fact that there's legacy issues, there's present issues with the mine, and they really do want to operate into the future. And part of that, of course, is the water management system. And managing the water and not damaging Snuggles Creek, which is listed, as was mentioned earlier, for cadmium and zinc, and is under study for lead. So when they started the mine up again, they established several monitoring stations along the creeks. SW rates way up high above other mines, SW2 and on down, then several groundwater monitoring stations and surface water monitoring stations along the creek. And just to give you an idea a little more about that water quality, yes, it has zinc and cadmium in it. But I always like a Piper diagram. I think they tell you a lot more about water than metals do, because the metals are so transient, they precipitate, they dissolve. And so here's just a bunch of those stations. This is the slide I presented last year, really showing you that the water quality in the area is just all tightly grouped. We have underground samples in here, we have groundwater samples in here, and we have surface water samples in here. And in fact, SW7 is Ouray tap water. So the water is all pretty similar from a conservative constituent standpoint. So before we started down this path of this passive treatment with groundwater infiltration, water came out of the portal, routed by pipe, into this settling pond, and then it went to an outfall 01A into Snuggles Creek, without any type of treatment other than settling. The pH of this water is circumneutral. In fact, it's been neutral for 128 years. There has never been an ounce of water come out of this mine. So this is strictly a relatively low concentration of lead, zinc, and cadmium issue. And I think, I'm not going to go back to the slide, but if you saw on the Piper diagram where there's a group, it's a really low hardness water, low alkalinity water. So that means the standards are really low, as Peter mentioned as well. So here we have cadmium that was coming out of that outfall. The black line on top, that's the drinking water standard. As was mentioned in previous talks, the drinking water standard is usually much higher than the aquatic use standards, which are down here. The aquatic use standards have, on the permit that was granted to Ouray Silver Mines, have an acute and a chronic standard, basically. And you can see that cadmium has exceeded the important standard, the chronic standard, quite a bit over the past 2 years. And then zinc. Zinc, you'll notice that black line, you can't see it because it's way up here. It's pockets, milligrams per liter, right? So again, zinc is exceeding, and this is a challenge for the mine. So we needed to find something else, some other way to manage this water. And active treatment works great while the mine's in production. Go ahead and plug in a system and treat the water and meet the standard, great. But this water's going to keep coming for millennia, probably, right? Because we don't want to put a bulkhead on it. So we have this idea to install a passive pond to polish the water during operations and into closure. And the groundwater infiltration facilitates regulatory simplicity because you only have to deal with one regulator at that point on the water quality and the standards. And groundwater standards are not hardness dependent. So within this system, we wanted to increase the alkalinity and hardness with calcite-rich rock, which facilitates the standard achievement by raising that acceptable standard. We wanted to promote sequestration of metals as carbonates also with adding that alkalinity and hardness. We wanted to encourage sorption, so we want a system that has lots of surface area. And we want to promote precipitation of sulfides, so we want to have bacteria in there, and then there needs to be a long-term food source for those bacteria, so eventually there'll also be plants involved. So the plan was then to utilize the existing stormwater ponds. Water would come out the same pipe, go into the same settling pond for pre-treatment, but instead of discharging straight into Snapples Creek, it's going to go into this passive system and subsequently infiltrate to groundwater. But we have to kind of prove up our system a little bit. So we did an underground pilot test. And so in early efforts to help mitigate water quality challenges, the mine had installed a pool in the yellow rows and recirculated water to increase residence time. So we went into there, into the yellow rows, into that little copper dam, and set up a pilot test.
Oops, sorry.
Where the water was coming out of the pool, where the pump being pumped in, going up through limestone, up through peat, and then out. And here's a photo. It's really hard to take photos underground. But you can see the upper limestone containing drum coming down and then flowing up and then out. And the results from this were really promising. So we can see the upper line in the paler orange, that was the influent water, and the lower line is the effluent water. And you can see substantial reductions in cadmium. It's hard to see a reduction in lead when you're going in at the detection limit. But in basically all three constituents of major interest. So we permitted the water system. And this is the as-built, so there's a few changes from what we originally envisioned. Some change in pipe routing and etc. And next slide. And we started construction. So if you'll recall, the bottom here, you can see bentonite. So we need to force the water up into the limestone and into the peat. So there's bentonite, and then there's a line here that's running, brings the water in. On top of that, we have crushed limestone, which you can't see in these photos. And then a liner is put down, not a barrier to flow, just to help contain peat, because it's quite buoyant when it's wet. So these are peat blocks that look like bricks that are stacked out that we expect to see substantial expansion. There's already been some over this wet season. We expect to see this expand quite a bit. And then soil on top of that. And it's done section by section. This was built out to fill the bottom of that stormwater pond. So what have we seen so far? We have two groundwater wells, one shallower and one deeper, right next to that sediment pond and right near the infiltration gallery. And this dark black line is the approximate time that water was shifted to flow into that sediment pond instead of into Temple's Creek. And so we also have here the groundwater standard for each of these constituents. And you can see one time in the past, for case of cadmium, there were exceedances. That's thought to be related to some construction activities that happened on site when they were building that submarine. But if we go beyond this line, we see we have 2 points. We see that in this low water season, the results for cadmium, lead, and zinc have been well within the historic norms of groundwater, and so there hasn't been a negative impact to that flow into groundwater. I think it's important to note here that this has all been low flow season. The water emanating from this tunnel is 200 CFS in the winter, and it will be 1,000 CFS in late July. So there's a lot to learn here still, and so we do have some future work plans. Which is, we want to watch this system through the spring runoff. Continue the monitoring and watch the water table, which has not changed at all, actually. And then over the course of time, we'll be adding plants and doing some more detailed studies on how the system functions over time. A lot of times when we think about a passive treatment system, it is for a legacy line. It's to go in and clean something that no one else is doing any work there anymore. And so you go in and you do lots and lots of lab studies and work. This is almost living work. So we have the opportunity to evaluate how the system performs all the way through operation and maintain it before we get to closure. We have the opportunity to decide if we need to add more amendments, if we need to feed bacteria, if we need to try and introduce other bacteria. And I think that shows tremendous foresight on the part of the Ouray silver mines, because this is mining past, present, and future. And I think it's a unique opportunity to, instead of doing this work in a lab, to do it there on site. And with that, I'd like to acknowledge Ouray Silver Mines, Untitled Watershed Partnership for organizing this conference and starting it 7 years ago, and all of the sponsors, and thank you for listening. Yes, sir.
Just see a point, say like 30 years from now, where that pond will be saturated with, so loaded that it's not working anymore, and then the just passing through the street.
I think that's a potential with any passive treatment system, and I don't think any passive system should be considered as a system that requires absolutely no maintenance. That's just not how nature works, right? So certainly absorption sites are easily limited. What you really want is you want to get absorption to slow it down and trap it, and then you want to get conversion to a less soluble mineral. And really, the least soluble mineral, Rob Milosky, if you're in here, taught me about solubility products 20 years ago. If you want to get it back to a sulfide. Dusty?
Briana, you showed the limestone as part of the class. Really has to raise the outreach. Is the limestone actually could you say it's a hard size coming out?
Right. So I think at this point it's hard. I'm sorry. The question is if the limestone is actually dissolving at pH 8, and what the purpose of the limestone is, to elaborate on that. Am I correct, Dusty?
Yeah.
So
The purpose of limestone is multiple. From an engineering standpoint, it provides porosity that allows the water to come in and flow, right? So there's that aggregate quality to it instead of, right? Will the limestone actually dissolve? I don't imagine it really dissolving. I see this more as a cation replacement because zinc, lead, and cadmium as carbonates are all less soluble than calcium carbonate. Preferentially, zinc, lead, and cadmium will form carbonates and calcium will go into solution. That means there could be armoring. Yeah. Other questions?
I wasn't quite sure, maybe I didn't quite understand, but you've got this passive system that you're using low flow. At higher flow, how are you meeting your permit limits?
The permit limits now are groundwater standard limits. So we actually have applied for termination of that outfall. And they're monitored at the groundwater well. And we have, because the system is so new, we're going to have to be watching this as the flow comes up. And I think that this first season of higher water is going to be interesting. There's lessons to be learned there. Yeah. Yes, Camille?
Have you seen any improvements in surface water quality?
Surface water quality has been studied. I didn't put those up there. We are still sampling on surface water. Substantial improvements in surface water quality? No. At the same time, it's only been 2 quarters and low flow. So time will tell. It's early. It's early in the process, and like I said, there's still stuff to learn. Yes, ma'am.
So if you use your stormwater pond for treatment, what are you doing with your stormwater?
The question is, if we use our stormwater pond for treatment, what do we do with the stormwater? So something to keep in mind about this site is that there were 5 mills there, numerous mines. Almost the whole area is mine waste of some kind from legacy mines, and it's exceptionally porous material. And so even though there are stormwater channels and stormwater ponds and a stormwater permit, there has never been a stormwater discharge. They just don't convey water. Nonetheless, the system is designed to maintain freeboard, which is one of the things we need to watch for this spring. It's designed to maintain freeboard in case there was an event. So the same freeboard is. Yes, Carrie?
Does the stream gain or lose groundwater downgrade?
Yes. The question was, does the stream gain or lose groundwater down gradient? And I would say it's seasonally dependent. In the spring, I would expect it to be a gaining stream and potentially a losing stream down gradient. Because it's a very deeply incised valley with colluvial fill, sometimes that's hard to measure. There's a lot of places where it's just meandering through waste.
Is this particular system been used on other sites with a longer history, or is this kind of a new technology you folks kind of came up with?
Yeah, I don't think this is new technology at all. There's a lot of information available about passive treatment systems that have been implemented in coal mines and all sorts of mines all around the world. I mean, this particular system was hashed out idea of what kind of reactions need to happen naturally to help reduce the load into the creek. And based on work that was done at the Ouray mine site in Colorado in the 80s. So that was kind of the early thoughts about it. So I think that's it for me. Thank you.